Hello and welcome back to the Rainy Days podcast. Today, I have one of my closest friends, Chav. Chav, say hello.
What it do?
I've known you since the day I breathed.
Yes, sir. I was at his birth.
And you, unfortunately, have known me since then.
Timelines do tend to occur that way.
Correct. You're older than me, but how many years? Because I'm 20.
6.
Sorry, I'm 21. I'm 21.
Oh, right. Now you are, right?
Yeah.
5 then.
5 years. Damn, 5 years. You were 5 years old when you saw me for the first time. That's insane. You know, one of my first memories with you was that you came over to my house. And you walked into my room. I don't know if you remember this. And I just remember telling you hey, Says isn't here. And you were just oh, that's all right. And you sat down next to me and I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, I want to hang out with you too. And I was like, oh, really? I thought you were friends with my brother. You're like, nah, man, I'm friends with you. And I was like, damn, that's where our friendship begun. Since then, we're basically family.
That was back when you guys were in the apartments by the tennis courts.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Yep.
That was a while ago. You guys had Pokemon XD. Which I was always hyped to go over because I was like, yo, a 3D Pokemon game?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, what? This is sick.
I've seen Emerald. I've seen Sapphire.
Yeah,
I've never seen this shit.
But that one you walked around.
Yeah, man.
But no, yeah, that was back in the day.
Damn, dude. We really lived our whole lives together.
That was recently, because I don't think your pops was with your mom by then, right?
No,
you guys were that's why she had her spot by herself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely good times there.
Oh, for sure. You guys had a whole playground right next to you at your age.
Yeah, I mean,
that's lit. You just
we
down.
We couldn't have possibly asked for more.
Exactly.
And the mischievous shit that I got into as a child.
Right.
I mean, what else could you want as a kid?
That's the way it is.
So, I actually learned a lot from you without you teaching it to me.
Mm.
A lot of those things being relationship-wise.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but I was there for the rise and the fall.
Of me?
Yeah.
Oh,
of your main relationship, the one that you had, your only real relationship.
Yeah.
I was there from the beginning to the middle to the end. Every stage. And I learned what to look for and what not to look for in somebody that you love.
Exactly.
So that's definitely something that I learned way early on, Thanks to you, of course.
Right.
Because I learned that you have to actually not only enjoy the company but have somewhat similar likes. And if you can't stand somebody or not even happy with them in general, there's no reason why you should be with them.
It limits their ability to be happy as well as yours.
Correct.
So in and of itself, it's a service to them too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And obviously they don't usually want that service, but
right.
It's not until the long go that they realize they needed it. Which sounds selfish and egotistical, but it's not. Because, for the longest time, I don't know if you felt the same way, but when you were a kid and your parents beat you, you were like, oh, fucking hate my parents. Fuck them. And then it's not until you're old enough that I was like, damn, I'm fucking grateful my parents beat the shit out of me, dude. Yeah. Coat hanger, belt, whatever. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad I didn't turn out like one of them fucking people that never got hit.
Well, this is a disclaimer for anyone out there who is going to be my wife. I'm beating my kids.
Oh, I'm beating the fuck out of my kids.
I'm beating the fuck out of my kids.
I'm fucking RKOing the fuck out of my kids.
Because if anyone tries to beat up my kids, I'm going to beat the fuck out of them.
That's right. They need to know how to fight.
Exactly.
We're going to get in the... You know what we're going to have? What's that shit called in the Avatar? Where you fight for the title of Fire Lord? Agni Kai. I'm gonna Agni Kai the fuck out of my kids, dude. All right, step into the ring if you want to talk up to me like that. You want to be head of the household? You want to wear the big pants? Let's Agni Kai it out. Give him a switchblade. I get an axe.
I get the double swords from what's this dude? Kratos.
Yeah, and he's got a Nerf gun.
But yeah,
nah, dude, it's amazing too because not only did I learn what to and what not to find in a relationship from you, but I also learned. I'm not gonna lie, I had a pretty good childhood. You know, even though my parents were separate from the day that I can start remembering, they were great. It wasn't like my father loved me any less than my mother, or my mother loved me any less than my father.
Right. Their animosity towards each other never
got in the way.
Never affected you.
Correct.
Like they were arguing with themselves, but if you came into the room, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, what? Do you need something? Like, are you hungry?"
Yeah.
They would not give a damn about themselves.
Right.
They would only care about you.
Correct. They were able to put shit aside when it came to their children.
Exactly.
And that's what, being an adult is like. And I got to see from you what parents shouldn't be like.
Exactly.
I think that the people with the worst parents will become the best parents.
One hopes, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, not only do you know, or at least, like in your instance, an amazing parent and a horrible parent. You have the vision of both. You know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess parenting society-wise is one way, but then it's subjective to a point because, how do I put this? Every villain in any comic book movie thinks he's right.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, he's like considerably, this is why I'm not doing bad, I'm doing good. Maybe it's selfish reasons, but to him it's good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think bad parenting is. They feel like they're doing it the right way. But in terms of all of the knowledge that we now have, no.
Right.
You know, that's the tough part.
Maybe back where they were from or whence they came or their time, it would have been the right way.
I mean, they used to, I know a story, my grandma's mother told her that, and this is El Salvador, so this is a third world country where it's all farmers and like very small government. I'm assuming like 1830s,
right?
1850s. They tied her up in a bag. I don't know what she did. Right. They tied her up in a bag, put her in a bag, put the bag like it was a punching bag, and then they whipped the bag for 2 hours.
Damn, dude.
And this is only 4 generations ago.
Yeah.
So like, crazy. You know what I mean? And you're sitting there and you're like, what? But in those times, acceptable.
That's what parenting was back then.
Exactly.
And it's fucking insane to think that not even that long ago, beating your kid with a belt would have been like the least of their worries.
Exactly. They'd be like, please.
That's again. All I want.
Yeah.
But now it's like, shit, dude, you could catch a charge if you leave a bruise on the kid.
Yep.
And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not because I have like a hunger to beat children. No. It's because I guess as animals, you learn best when taught what is wrong and what is right.
It's conditioning.
Correct.
That's what it's.
When a dog shits in your house, you don't pet him.
No.
You take him to the shit, and you're like, no, bad. You don't smack the shit out of him. You don't break his jaw.
Give him something for him to remember.
Correct.
That is what you're gonna get if you do that.
You slap him a little bit on the nose, not like a. I'm talking like a little tap, where he's like, bad, and then you take him outside, and you're like, this is where it's good. Same thing with kids. It sounds fucked up, but like, no, that's what it is.
The thing is,
it got to the point where my dad, he wouldn't even like warn me or anything. He'd give me a look, and the look was more than enough for me to like just like, okay,
you know what, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna chill out.
Yeah. Nah, I've been made. You know what I mean, like that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But it's, how do I put this? It's not wrong, necessarily, because as a child, Right. So terrible twos, right? Everyone kind of, if you're in an even third world country, terrible twos is like a thing.
Right.
Basically, terrible twos in child psychology is where the child now knows that they can communicate. Thank you. I can never do the ghost.
It's hard.
I don't know. I never know if I do.
It takes skill. My friend Chris, who rolls backwoods, he's got it. He's got it down.
He does it?
Yeah.
Where was I at?
Terrible twos.
Right. Okay. So, what kids do at terrible twos, they now know how to communicate with the parent to an extent, right? Food, potty, sleepy, angry, the basic emotions.
Right.
And then they know that there are now rules. They don't accept the rules, so they start testing their boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that connected to right now. I'm trying to think of where
Beating your children?
Oh, yeah, well, because we were talking about... Right, okay, so if they're now testing their boundaries, you have to teach them that these boundaries need to be respected.
Correct.
And since they don't have any sense of cause and effect, as in you make an action and actions have consequences, you have to now create the consequence for them to understand that concept.
Right.
So, yes, maybe playing with crayons on the wall doesn't signify to them as being something bad. You know what I mean? Because technically it isn't evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not something that disrupts someone else's anything. But because you want to teach them that you shouldn't mess with other people's property or, any kind of those, like, concepts, then you have to enforce the consequence. Because, yeah, if you write on your own wall, there's no consequence. Like, who's going to yell at you? You know what I mean? No one. Until somebody does. Mm-hmm. Then you're like, oh, I can't do that. You can't graffiti your apartment walls because the tenant lord, or what is it? Landlord. We'll
right.
say, yeah, okay. The landlord is going to take away your security deposit.
Right.
But you already know that going in. So
Correct.
you know your consequences. But when you're a kid, you don't know those things. So that's why I think I'm okay with an extent of beating your kid.
Right.
Now, I don't know if I'll do that. I think I'm going to play the psychological game. So, and I hope... This is hypothetically.
Right.
I haven't admitted to anything.
Right. I don't have a child.
Yeah.
At this current day.
If my kid gets caught doing something illegal in high school, let's say, right? Because that's mostly what people's fear is.
Right.
You get the wrong crowd or anything. And be like, okay, cool. That's fine. You now sleep on cement. I'm going to take everything out of their room, everything out of their closet. I'm going to take the actual carpet off of their room so they sleep on concrete. They'll get to, sleep in the roof, like under the roof because, oh well. But you won't get any comfort until you realize that this is an actual bad idea for you to be doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, they get nothing but cement.
What's your thought process behind that? Like, what do you think they'll by force have to learn from that?
Comfort comes from doing
what's right.
What's right, I guess, because yes, you can get comfort from, say, Pablo Escobar. He had hella money, but his comfort ended up when they murdered him because he did illegal things.
Correct.
Right. So maybe it's quick comfort, but if you want long-term comfort, you have to do the right things in the right way. Some of that's subjective, but hey, what can you do?
I mean, at that point, it's not really... It's no longer an opinion as much as it is a fact that you can be comfortable as much as you want doing illegal things, but the fact of the matter is that not if, but when you're caught, that comfort ends.
Now we go back to consequences.
Correct. You go back to that cement floor.
Which is why you don't have
your
kids.
Exactly. You don't have that comfort of, what I'm doing is okay and it's right, and I'm rich because I earned it, not because it was easy.
Exactly.
Which is, and I mean, back in the day, I wouldn't say I hated my father, but I resented him for making me work weekends, because as a kid, I lost weekends.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was like to have a Friday or Saturday. I liked weekdays because I only went to school and then home. Weekends, I worked with my dad as not even a dishwasher, more like a dish cleaner, where the waiters would come up, drop their plates full of food, and I would scrape the food off of the dishes and then give it to the dishwasher. From like 6 years old to like 14 or 15. That's what I would do every Friday or Saturday. And it's fucking hilarious because he wouldn't even pay me hourly. He'd just give me like $20 at the end of every night. So like $40 a week, which as a kid is like a lot, but at the same time it's like I spent it on candy and toys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a kid. What did you expect from me? But it did. At the end of the day, like even now, as young as I still am, I'm grateful for that.
Right.
I lost out on, what a lot of kids will forget is their childhood memories, but I gained something that will help me for the rest of my life, which is work ethic.
Yep.
Getting used to that, going to work to make the money, not getting shit handed to you for free.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, as a father, his job at that point was completed.
Yeah.
There's nothing more that you can give a kid as a father than the right work ethic.
Give a man a fish.
Teach him how to fish. That's all I needed from him, and he delivered. So I can only hope to do the same to my kids. Maybe not to that extent,
right?
But somewhere to that where it's like, you don't have an allowance. I'm not going to give you money. If you want money, you have to do things for it.
Exactly.
Pay a kid to clean the house, to cut the lawn, whatever it's like. But don't just give kids money as an allowance, because then they'll expect shit for free for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
When, to get, you have to give.
You have to give. It's tough, which is why I don't have kids. I have probably one of my better friends of life, since like 4th grade, Johnny Brenner. He's on his 2nd kid.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a state trooper.
Okay, well, that's pretty good.
Exactly, right? This kid used to be, and I don't want to use the word like inner city, but like, he was part of the group. You know what I mean? Like, he was part of that group that just kind of like hung out and it didn't really seem like they cared about futures or anything. Didn't really care about doing well in school. I mean, they would do their schoolwork, but it's not like they were like trying to excel.
Right.
He finished his high school, finished his bachelor's. I mean, now I think he's in state trooper either school or he finished. I'm not sure, but he's doing that. So I'm just there, and I'm like, wow. 2nd kid, he was a year younger than me, so he's already 2 kids in at 25, and here I am at 26. Just not worried about that.
Right.
But I feel like timelines are different. I had a conversation with an old friend the other day, and some people's timeline is to have kids at 14.
Right.
Some is to graduate college at 36. It's that's your timeline.
Right.
That's what you can't. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. I don't think it's fate or destiny. I just think it's just like circumstances, birth. It's more of like the variables that someone put into the simulation for you, kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? The what you can do to change that, you can do a lot now. The internet is open. You can always learn new things, certifications, things like that. But there's a lot of things that you are for sure gonna do. I was probably bound to meet, if it wasn't my ex, it was some girl that would have taken her place at that time, which would have had the same effect on me. You know what I mean? So no matter what, I was gonna end up with that rise and fall.
Now, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. But
when we return,
before I do, I want to ask you something that has been looming on my mind ever since the end of that era with your ex, since I had mine. If you had the choice to go back and select a different person that may have given you a different experience, whatever it was, whether it was better, worse, short, longer, whatever, would you have done it? Or do you think that you learned the right things from that person? From that relationship, you learned everything you needed to know about your next one.
Kanye said once, he said, people were asking, Kanye, what are you going to do if you don't win the Grammy? I guess we'll never know. And then he walks off stage with the Grammy in hand. Honestly, I don't know. It's a what if. It's a thought experiment, but at the same time, we can't deal in what ifs. We have to deal in what has happened, what has occurred, right? So, would it have changed? Yes, we can do the thought experiment and be like, well, yeah, obviously, you know, maybe I'd do it something different. I'd be somewhere different. But what's happened, and to that extent, would I want to change it? No, because it's who I am today. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If they won't tell you, right? Like if someone came up to you, you press this button, you go back, you get to choose someone different, but you're gonna be weaker. You can be like, well, no, I want to stay strong.
Right.
He's like, you're gonna have more fun, but you're gonna be weaker. It's like, no, I want to stay strong. So right. I think I'm as strong as I am now, mentally, physically, soulfully, because of what happened. So I wouldn't really want to go back, to be honest. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be
who you are today.
The guru, Lahima.
Correct. Yeah. Now, I feel the same way. I think that if somebody were to give you the option to go back, and even if it wasn't even 50-50, if there was a 5% chance saying that you would not have learned as much as you did from this, there's no fucking way I'm taking that chance. Exactly. I learned more than I needed to from this. Not gonna risk that. I'm gonna go pee. But give him some fun facts. Talk to that blue Yeti microphone.
Fun facts about me. You can follow me on Instagram, XAVIGUZMAN. But you can also look up Shav Solo. Shav Solo is a play on words from Han Solo, from the movie Solo, a Star Wars movie, where they ask him, I don't know, it's on my Twitter, but basically it's like a little moniker to that. I stream, if you guys want to check out Twitch /Shav_Solo. I do put up some TikToks too, but they're mostly just stream highlights. But yeah, I am an enigma. If you want to learn more, you're going to have to look between the lines.
Between the lines, bitch. I'm back. All right. If you had to meet one celebrity in person, let's say you get to talk for an hour, sit down on the couch, smoke a joint with them, who would it be?
Celebrity-wise?
Yes.
Celebrity-wise,
you don't fuck anybody in the world.
Right.
Anybody in the world, yeah.
It's tough, because I would want to meet Einstein.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, alive or dead? Sorry, I didn't.
Let's say alive just to keep it like...
Right, okay.
Dead, there's way too fucking many.
Yeah. Well, most people would say Musk, I guess, from like my field of study, which is computer science and like stuff like that. Right. I don't know. Musk to me, he's an interesting character, but I wouldn't really be interested in meeting. What I would want to meet is, or who I would want to meet is probably... I'm trying to think of who I... Hold on, give me 10 seconds to find my Instagram. Because there's too many people. Like, I could say The Rock, but what's he going to teach me? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, how to eat right.
Hell yeah, shit.
I'm trying to think of mine too. Honestly, there's not. I don't really like a lot of celebrities.
I respect them, but ever since my friend Erwin, um, he told me because he went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and you have people from the industries that they're in, actors, producers, not printers, painters. You know what I mean? Artists of all kinds of musicians come in and like they do speeches and stuff, and they tell the class before, I am nothing more than your peer. Don't think of me highly. I'm just another person like you that has their art appreciated. You get what I'm saying? And since then, I'm like, okay. So instead of being like, oh my God, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. Hey, look, it's Leo DiCaprio. A talented actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not so much, oh, that's Leo. He'll never want to speak to me. It's more like, when I get a chance to speak to him.
Right.
I wonder what conversation we'll have.
And I kind of learned that that same thing as well, but from the Game Grumps.
Okay.
Because in one of his many videos, he was talking about how Dan Avidan was talking about how at one time somebody came up to him and was like, hey, oh my God, you're Dan Avidan and this and that and freaking out and I want a selfie and this and that. And he just said, like, you know, being famous is weird, like weirdly hard, but nobody really wants to be approached on the street with that kind of energy. No matter how good or bad of a time you're having, nobody really wants to be shown up and be like, oh my God, you know, treat it like as an object, as a thing. You know?
Exactly.
You know, you want to be respected as a person. He said that more than anything, he would really like if somebody just on the side of the street said, hey, you're Dan Avidan. I think the content that you make is amazing, man. Keep doing what you do. I love it. See you later.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. If I made good ass content, I kind of want the same thing.
Appreciation is key.
Exactly.
You don't want to go overboard.
Yeah, because then you treat them like they're a name and not a person.
Exactly. I don't know, it's tough. I guess celebrity-wise, I don't think anyone. Because I like actors for their craft. I want to potentially one day, like, join them in creating that craft. But I don't think I see them on a pedestal of them teaching me anything. Selfishly, I would want to talk to Xavi, the Barcelona soccer player.
Oh, yeah.
Who has my name. Just because I think it'd be interesting to learn from him his version of soccer. You know what I mean? As much as I've studied and like I really enjoy the sport, it's different from someone who sees it as a job, but as a passion as well. Because I see it as fun, and yes, sometimes, you know, I mean, you get those chess moments where you're like, oh, I know 4 moves ahead, what's going to happen?
Right.
But he knows 16, 17, 18 moves ahead.
Right.
You get, like, that level is crazy. So I guess I want to talk to Xavi. They also say don't meet your heroes. Because I would never want to meet John Mayer, and I'd love to talk music with him.
And then he's just like a total asshole.
Well, they say he's a little flippant with language. Like, he'll go off on tangents when it's, like, not even what you're discussing. So it's like, eh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, if I had to meet a celebrity...
Just for fun, maybe Drake. For me. I guess. Just go party with him. But, yeah.
I don't really follow up with a lot of celebrities, honestly. I don't really like them a lot because you can see that they're very, what would you even call it? Selfish, I guess? Or conceited? They believe that they're the only person in the world, kind of thing. And I've never taken kindly to that. I don't think a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd really, really like to meet... Man, that's a tough one. Probably Troy Baker.
The voiceover actor.
Yeah, the voice actor of Joel from The Last of Us. Joker from one of the Asylum games, if not 2 or 3. He played Yamato in Naruto Shippuden, Greed in Fullmetal Alchemist. Like,
a lot of different things.
yeah, like a Booker in my favorite game, Bioshock Infinite. Like, he's done so much work, and he has such a wide range, and I know nothing of or about him. And yet I hear him in almost every single game that I play. I want to get to know him. You know, simple questions like, what's your favorite color? Food. You know, like, what kind of car do you drive? What's your social security number? But I mean, aside from that, like everybody else, like they say, don't meet your heroes. Like, I'd like to meet Robert Downey Jr., but like, what if he's an asshole?
The thing about him is he is who he portrays.
Exactly.
He's a diva. Like, the center of attention will be on you, and he will literally bring it back within a minute or two.
Yeah.
And it's not even just trying to be selfish. It's just a need of his. Yeah. I think he's very social to the point where it's not that he needs the attention. It's more like he gets energy off of the energy that he gets from others. And in order to get the most of that energy, everyone has to be giving it to you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, dude, you're Iron Man, like, for life. Like unless there's another guy that looks even more like the guy, he's Iron Man until he dies.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that, you get to be a little cocky. You know what I mean?
You know what's weird about time is that it's so hard to put into words, but like, imagine we were living 50 years ago.
Ah.
Technology was barely even worth the word technology at the time. Black and white screens.
Well, what we knew
to do. I mean,
the military the military is probably 5 or 10 years ahead of us right now.
Oh, for sure.
So, like, to them, they probably had hella shit.
They can't kill their own guy. It's I mean, it's insane to think that just like, I can't wait to meet my grandkids, dude. I can't wait to meet my grandkids and see what they grow up with, you know?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Like, I grew up with the Game Boy Advance. I grew up with the Nintendo DS. I grew up with shows like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Powerpuff Girls,
Kids Next Door.
Codename Kids Next Door. What was that one? Code Lyoko.
The French one, yeah.
Shit that I find amazing, and you know, the next generation, my little brother, he grew up with the Gumball, the Amazing World of Gumball, whatever. Steven Universe, Chowder, exactly. It's like, and I can't wait to see what my grandkids like. My little brother learned how to use an iPad by the age of 4. I could fucking barely navigate through the menu in Pokemon Emerald when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't. It's crazy to just imagine, like, if your grandkid can navigate a fucking iPad 23 in the year 2052. Like, just imagining what kind of kids they're going to turn out to be with the kind of technology that they're surrounded by.
See, for me, I'm not really too worried about I mean, I already have steps in my mind, plan-wise, and my wife, I guess, is going to have to agree to this, that from now on, we will teach different kinds of things to the, I want to say the Guzman household, because that is my last name, but I'm not taking anything from my grandfather and nothing from my father. I'm making it my own name.
Right.
So, like, I'm the first. There is no before me.
Erase the past. Start anew.
Exactly.
Right.
But I have all these lessons, right? So I'm going to pass these lessons on to the next generations. So by the time they have the ability and resources to do what I wish I could do at the moment, they will have the knowledge, the morals, and the resources and abilities to finally do that. So.
Now, do you think that, for example, and I hate to put it out so bluntly, but like, pit bulls, by nature, They are a very, very aggressive breed. No matter how much love or care you give them, if somebody were to, let's say you breed the perfect pit bull, pit bull, great with children, great with adults,
great with music, man.
Yeah,
that's the 305.
Fucking sit there sleeping all day, the calmest thing. If somebody breaks into your house, I can promise you, all hell will break loose, and that shit will absolutely tear them apart. Same thing with a Rottweiler. Same thing with a German Shepherd. Do you think that kids, by default, are implanted with something that can make them different? Or do you think that it's a completely blank slate, empty piece of paper that you just have all your life to write on?
So you're talking about personality.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've had thoughts experiments about these. I've researched it, especially because it seems in my family we have a bit of a, I want to call it an anger management issue, but it's not as severe as that, right? We don't just get angry and throw desks around. Right. In middle school, people would do that. Like are you insane? You're 11. What are you mad about? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But we definitely tend, it seems, to overreact to things, and I think some personality comes from within when you're born. You know what I mean? But some of it is also biological. Right. So, my pops has high blood pressure. I bet you my grandpa did too.
Right.
And I do for sure.
Right.
Right. And so you're getting angry, your blood pressure goes up automatically. If you already have high, it's raising that ceiling even higher, which makes your body go into a state of alertness because you're at 160 BPM as opposed to a normal person getting angry going only to 130, 120. Right. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some biology there. I don't know. I want to find out. But at the same time, I have coping mechanisms that my dad didn't have and wasn't taught.
Right.
And that my grandpa for sure as hell didn't know. You get what I'm saying? Back in 1920s, 1940s. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to tell him, take a breath. You know what I mean? Think of the bigger picture. He's going to be like, no, go beat his ass. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or like, go beat her. Like, it doesn't matter. Just handle the problem. But sometimes there is no problem. It's just an overtly reactive thing. But I forget what your question was. Oh, what I was gonna say is because you said, what if like are children then born as blank slates?
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Racism is taught. Now, I'm not gonna go down that path because that's a whole other podcast, which is fine. You know what I mean? I'm against it as well. Racism is an ideology.
Right.
Ideologies are taught, right? So it's not just racism. You could be pro-LGBTQ. That's an ideology. You could be pro or anti-Semitic or whatever it is. I haven't done any research, so I don't know what it is. I just know that that's a phrase that people use. But that's an ideology.
Yeah, that's anti-Jew. You
could be freaking communist. That's an ideology, right? But all those things are taught.
That's anti-capitalism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could be socialism, which is anti-everything.
Right.
It seems. But those are ideologies. The ideologies are taught through speech, right? So as a baby, what we do know is you're happy, you have an expression. You're sad, you have an expression. These expressions already come in you, right? When you're happy, no matter what, you're going to want to crack a smile. Yeah. No one's going to tell you crack a smile. You're not going to tell yourself, I should smile because I'm happy. No, you automatically do it.
Yeah.
When you're angry, you furrow your brow, even as a baby. No one tells you to do it, right? As kids, they did this experiment where there's like a plexiglass thing, right? And they put the kid next to the plexiglass and tell him to come to his mom on the other side of the plexiglass, right? Obviously, the kid doesn't know that it's glass. He doesn't understand that concept, right? And some kids have no fear. They will walk through. and like genuinely not care that it looks like they're falling to their death. But I'm not. I know it was a winning majority, so it had to be over 60% of the kids were like, "You crazy woman! I'm not going over there." Like they would look at their mom like, you know what I mean? Like
right.
I'm not going to fall to my death.
Yeah, even loyal dogs wouldn't fucking do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not tall. That's an already inclusive survival kind of thing.
Something that's already embedded.
So some of it, like I said, you already come pre-programmed. But things that are bigger picture, you learn.
Right.
So, do kids come with personalities? I think you're born with a personality, but it's rapidly changing every day. Mm-hmm. Right? Until you finally kind of settle on your base personality at around middle school. Your identity is not there, but your personality is. Right? So we have the very talkative kids, usually popular kids. Why? Because they talk to everybody. They don't care who you are. Hey, what are you doing? What are you listening to? Okay, cool.
Right.
And then guess what? Everyone knows their name because they've talked to everybody. They're like, you know Jeff? Yeah, Jeff. He's annoying. High school, Jeff is class president. Why? Because he talked to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's one form of personality. And you have the, sheltered kids, quiet kids like I was. That kind of thing. So that's my whole tangent on kids' personality.
So me and Sam touched on a topic in the last podcast where we talked about high school. And I know high school for you was a lot longer than it was for me ago. 5 years to be exact. What kind of kid were you in high school? Now, I'll let you know that for me, I was the kid that kind of stuck to the shadows. Like, I wasn't popular. I wasn't the nerd. I wasn't the kid to bully. I was literally the kid where it was like, hey, do you know about this kid? And I was like, no, I don't know. He goes here. Kind of fucking, I was that kid. And I didn't get lunch at line. I would stand outside. I would skip lunch. I'd have like a small 5 circle of friends. And everybody outside of that only knew of my name and not me.
Through class, they had with you.
Exactly.
When you had to
sat next to me,
yeah.
I sat behind you, whatever. You barely knew my name. Because in middle school, I was referred to as Cesar's brother. So the whole time, I got sick and tired of being remembered by that name.
Well, you guys are closer in age, right?
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, all of my teachers...
And you're both the same gender.
Exactly. So
all me and my sister's a lot different.
Right.
All her friends are girls.
Yeah.
My friends are guys.
Exactly.
There's no generational thing there.
Yeah.
And the teachers, they're like, 3 years ago, maybe that's a sister. I don't know. You know what I mean? As opposed to, they kind of look like because they're boys.
Yeah. Or they hear my last name.
Or
Whether it was Hernandez or Machado at the time. They were like, "Are you Cesar's brother?" It was like, "Yeah, that's me." And all the other girls in the school knew me because their older sister was fucking with my older brother. And they were like, "Oh, you're his younger brother?" I'm like, "Yeah." They knew me as Cesar's brother more than they knew me as Diego.
Yeah.
So in high school, I decided, like, fuck it.
I remember that.
I know he didn't go to this high school, but
Let me
even still, I'm not gonna be referred to as that name anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be referred to as me or nothing.
Yeah.
So I chose nothing. What about you? What kind of kid were you in high school?
I was a antisocial social person.
Okay. I mean, not the most confusing.
Bro. 1 minus 1 is 1. Basically,
now you're speaking in rhymes.
Okay, so you have here's the way that obviously hierarchies in high school tend to play out, right? This is the first split. You have people that go to homecoming and people that don't, right? That's the first split. Obviously, that's one group, people that usually don't go to homecoming, which is, a whole bunch of mini groups. Then you have those that went to homecoming.
Right.
I went to homecoming, right?
Okay.
In homecoming, you have different cliques. They kind of hang out with each other, especially freshman homecoming. You know what I mean? It's like, you only really know they skate, they play soccer, they play football. You know what I mean? Because they barely kind of know each other. So this is freshman year.
I know a lot about freshman homecoming.
Right. Right. And I'm sure, you know, they've gone through that topic. I had a friend in every group. I wasn't friends with every group, but I had one friend in every group. Right? So that first homecoming, I went group to group, through group to group to group to group, one song with each until the night ended. I wasn't with anyone. I wasn't hanging out for the whole night with anyone. I had a slow dance because one of my buddies got a girl that was like, he can dance with him, the slow dance. She's like, okay, bang, right? And then I still, like I said, I had friends in every group, so I had friends in the people who stayed home at home. I wasn't popular. I didn't run for class president, but I ran for treasurer. No, for vice president, sorry. And I lost to my buddy, which I was happy about. I was like, hey, we both went for it. You won. Yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't win, at least you did.
Exactly. And to be fair, I'm happy because they stayed at school so many times. And I was labeled different things. Like, in my shop, Votex have these things called shops, where it's kind of like your trade class.
Right.
So they teach you things.
Right, whether it's automobiles, mechanics, legal supportive services,
civil engineering,
carpentry, cosmetic, whatever.
Avionics.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I had originally gone for to that high school for.
Right.
Avionics. I was going to be a plane technician. Because I wanted to be an airplane pilot. I figure knowing everything about how to fix an airplane, it's probably a good idea as a to being a fighter pilot.
Right.
Come to find out, you need 20/20 vision. That went away, and so did sniper training, because you need 20/20 vision for that too. So I'm like, damn, great. Both of my military dreams gone.
But you had military dreams. I had no idea.
I did a lot of Call of Duty, and my dad was in the Navy in his place. Right. So like he was heavily into all the military movies and stuff. So I watched it, and there is a bit of a love for war in Hollywood. Now that you know hindsight's 20/20, and you know all the big picture things, war is terrible. It's an idiotic thing. I think shooting is cool. There's an art to sniping. You know what I mean? Yes,
as a marksman, though, not as a...
Right, because you're accurate.
Right, as a sport.
I could shoot a watermelon and it'd still be just as cool as shooting that body. You know what I mean? Like, but...
There's no need to take a life. You can just shoot a watermelon.
But that's a whole other thing.
Right.
But yeah, I would go to shop, and I was known as the shop's sport kid. Right? So we had a baseball player... But he was kind of quiet, but not really. He was Irwin, which is, you know, and then me, the soccer player.
Right.
And then our soccer team started doing good every year, so, like, every time they would ask for anything sport-related, I was there. We had lacrosse players, but who watches lacrosse? Even less than soccer. You know what I mean? Like, that was the kind of thing. Like, I was the only, like, somewhat watchable sport in the fall. Because we didn't have any football players. So, but yeah, I mean, middle school I was kind of big fish. High school I wasn't really a big fish. I was like the fish that everyone was like, oh, here's Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Hey.
Yeah. Hey, they didn't know you, but they knew of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was always all good things. Except, so there's one time, obviously I'm very... not introspective, right? So, my boy Christian, he's a tall Colombian man, would always flirt with the girls, and he would flirt by smacking the ass. Mind you, This is like way back when they were okay with it. They probably flirted back in.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Okay. Different values, different kids. Today, hell no.
Completely different generation. Yeah.
So I had a girl I liked, And we wouldn't really flirt, but we'd laugh together.
Yeah.
So I gave her a hug goodbye once, and I slapped her ass. And people seen it, and they made fun of me for doing that. Obviously.
Did you slap the ass wrong, or was it just like...
It was just because of the act.
Okay.
And they were like, what the hell? That's so out of character for you, yada yada. And I'm like, dude, it's because I'm trying to see. You know what I mean? I wasn't... I knew how to talk to girls. It's just, it was different. It's always difficult to talk to the girl that you like.
Right.
It's always difficult to talk to the guy that you like.
Especially as a kid, you don't know how to fucking act.
Exactly. And this is like sophomore year, so you're like, bro, I hadn't really, you know what I mean? Had too many girlfriends. So that happened, and then I had to like distance myself from that group. But, you know, I take it as a learning curve, you know. Don't do weird shit, I guess, you know.
Right.
Although back then, like I said, to him, all the girls were cool with it. Mind you, I realized that height, for some idiotic and yet understandable reason, is...
Now hold on. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's sexy to women.
Let me take that real quick. I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick, and then we'll talk more about height.
Okay.
I got a lot to say about that shit.
Oh boy.
Tell them about the music.
The music. I'm seeing pizza vibes. That's what it says. Jazz Hop Cafe on Instagram. GAAZZHIP. Oh, HOP, sorry. CAFE. There's an airplane in the background. I think if you guys should listen to anybody, I listen to a lot of different music. K Tronada is a wonderful DJ. If you're into kind of folk music, I would recommend the Teskey Brothers. They're from Australia. If you like funk, Hiatus Coyote. And yes, hiatus, like the word, and then coyote, which is like coyote, especially it's K-A-Y-O-T. What else? Jack Harlow is a great rapper. And if you want anything sad, then you should always listen to Sam Smith.
Or watch Clint
I've been trying to rewatch it, but I can't get past the first 6 episodes because I know what happens every time. So I'm like, this is boring. Click to something else. But I need to get through it so that I can finish the rest of it. Clannad was sad.
Do you remember what we were going to talk about before I left?
You said something about height.
Height. Yes. Now, let me ask you a serious question. I want you to answer it seriously. Not like out of your...
Doctor? Or you mean like me?
You.
Okay.
Not like out of who you believe you are, what your manhood is, discipline, respect, whatever. Could you marry a woman that is taller than you?
Oh, this is easy, yeah. Hell yeah. I'll climb that tree.
Really? I don't know what the fuck it is about me. I could never.
And respectively. You know what I mean? You like what you like. And that's... Nothing will ever take that away. Nobody can ever take that away from you. Mm-hmm. And which is why it's so difficult when people like on TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that, they're like, white guys only with white girls, black guys only with black girls. If they like that, I don't know what to tell you. If white guys are into Asian girls, whether it's lustfully, whether it's because or hentai or all kinds of whatever it could be, if they like that, that's what they like. You know what I mean? I get preference and all that kind of crap. But I wouldn't really be mad at someone because they only want to date a certain color, a certain genre.
And it's not racist. It's not sexist.
It's preference.
It's not,
it's preference.
It's not prejudice. It's not hate. It's just... It's not about what you like. It's not about what they like.
Yeah.
And it's... See...
And there are some men that will not date skinny women. They will only date curvy men.
Correct. And there are some guys like me that I don't think I could ever marry a woman that's thick. For me, honestly, tree branches.
And that's respectable.
And that's all it is. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But I can only love you if you resemble a tree branch.
There you go.
If you resemble anything like a walnut... Unacceptable.
And that's your preference.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And there's nothing like sexist.
And that to you, And I'll say this: that to you doesn't mean color.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean a black girl who was like that,
it's not a racist thing. It's not a sexist thing.
Indian girl who was like that, she has to look like that body type. That's your preference.
And here's the funny thing too. For the longest time, I thought that I couldn't date a black chick until I met the right black girl.
Okay. Yeah.
And it wasn't until then that I was like, okay, so it's not about race; it's about what I find in a person. You can be any race in the world. It doesn't matter. You can be any height, any weight, whatever. If I see it in you, then I see it.
Exactly.
It can overcome any other preference that I have. If that's what I want to marry, then god damn it, that's what I'm going to marry. You know what that brings me to?
What's it bring you to?
Do you want to have a son or a daughter?
First? Or just in general?
Like first, more than anything. What would you rather have your first be?
Preference-wise?
No, let me restate the question. If you could only have one, which one would it be?
Okay. Quick answer. Because I know that my bloodline's women's will be okay, I want to instill all my knowledge, like I was saying earlier, like all the lessons that I've learned, and be a much better father to a son than to a daughter. Because I've basically been Julie's uncle. I haven't really been her big brother. Like, I mean, I'm her big brother, obviously. But, like, I was 12 when she was 0. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't really... We connect on, video games and stuff because I'm more understanding than most guys. And, I still live with them and I help them out.
You're more of their mentor than a sibling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's different rather than, like, me and Laura.
Yeah. I feel the same about... Because we have similar things. Like, my older brother's 2 years older than me, but my younger brother is, 8? Almost 7 years younger than me. So now, I wasn't able to be around them as much as you were to Julie, but at the same time, it's kind of like... I don't feel as much as I was their sibling, as much as I was their... What would you call it?
See, I said uncle, because it kind of makes more sense.
I would say idol.
Okay.
I guess because I look up to my brother, so I would imagine that my younger brother looks up to me. So I want to put the right image in there.
Right, exactly. Like my younger sister right now, she went from being heavy into Hamilton to being heavy into something else, I forget. Haiku, which is the volleyball anime.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now she's really into K-pop.
Really?
And, right, any other normal between 2 and 3 old brother or sister would be, like, making fun of them, right? Because it's such a niche or cliche kind of thing.
Right.
I'm like, no, please stay and do these things.
Stay in that
where
lane.
you extend your world view because,
right.
Oh, my God, she's watching stuff from Korea. She's not stuck in America. She's not thinking prized horses and, that kind of vibe. And at the same time, she's also not into drugs. Or, that kind of thing. Yeah. And that's the mentality that I have because I'm much older than she is.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something that I probably shouldn't tell you.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna tell you because you're her older brother. This one time, it wasn't even that long ago, maybe a month ago, your mom and my mom went shopping together. And obviously, they brought the younger children along, dragged them along. My mom just so happened to call me and ask me what I was doing. And my dumb ass said nothing. And she was like, you want to come to the mall? And I was like...
She had to watch him.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. But she didn't tell me about the younger kid.
Of course not.
That's the trap. Bro. That's the trap. I showed up and they're like, hey, me and Madi, your mom...
We're going to go hang out.
Gonna go to Victoria's Secret. Which, bullshit, they were in there for 2.5 hours, apparently. Well, I took care of the fucking kids. But my mom dropped us off at the Starbucks. So, me and your sister and my little brother got drinks. We all got our own drinks. We're waiting in line because it was around the Christmas season, so everybody was kind of packed.
And they're both basically freshmen. I
mean,
your brother's an 8th grader, which is basically a freshman
right.
guy. And my sister's 14. So.
My brother's so quaint, dude. He's such a chillax guy that, like... I can't see him ever getting into a fight.
They say that I was like that, but just a little more talkative.
Probably.
Like, I feel like Sayes was way like that.
Yeah. But I don't remember what exactly led up to the conversation. Because my little brother, he doesn't talk a lot. But, conversations that I have with him are chill. Me and your sister were talking most of the time. And she was telling me about the election. And Biden won, obviously. That's a fact now. But she was telling me about how, she can't go to California or whatever state because they were red.
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna tell you the truth, Julie. And something that your brother and sister might not tell you, but I'm gonna tell you because I care about you. Don't look at people for their color, whether it's red or blue. Listen to them and open your ears before you open your mouth. Because if you only look at things like the red and blue, you'll marginalize the country more than it already has.
Right.
If you don't listen to reason and you listen to your red or blue, you'll never know the true facts. Right. You're just following. You're not actually having your own opinion. And I hope, I mean, from the way that she responded, I think that she did understand that, like, it's not a fact of having a different opinion as much as it is listening to reason. She said, okay. She said, okay.
I mean, hey.
But, like, it all depends on what you teach your
Rather
kid.
that than never.
Fuck you. One last thing before we end the podcast. I'm assuming that you'll have children.
We shall see, right? My mom's like, I'm never having kids.
Dude,
like,
even if I gotta adopt, I'm having children. But I'm gonna ask you this: are you gonna teach your children religion, or are you gonna allow them to discover it for themselves if they even want to?
I think I'm gonna give it to them the way they should be given religion, right? So here is all the books.
Mm-hmm.
Here is all the science, which is the science route.
Of course.
If you want to read, go ahead and read it. Whatever you decide you want to follow, I am not against it. Unless you're a Scientologist, then it's like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what you be doing. But at the same, like, you want to be Catholic, be Catholic. You want to be Christian, be Christian. You want to be Muslim, be Muslim. You want to be Buddhist, which is what I think.
The optimal religion.
What I think my mind actually is. My obviously my soul is like different.
Right.
But my mind is very Buddhist.
And I agree. I think before I ever think about handing my child a Bible, I'll hand them the Quran first.
Not so much. I think just at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna be like, look, they can't agree. They can't agree. They can't agree. If you want to agree with one, that's fine. But just realize that this isn't the only text. And at the same time, I'm going to tell this to my kid. Yes, the Bible was written and the Quran and all that kind of stuff. But we have proof that they took stuff out and put new stuff into the Bible.
Exactly.
At the Council of Nicaea from the Roman Empire. Someone decided what that book was going to say. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's more recent.
They altered it.
They gave it their version. That's why I take religion with a grain of salt.
I'm going to tell you one last thing before we cut it off. My dad never introduced my little sisters to what candy was until this past Christmas. And now they're obsessed.
Of course.
So what does that tell you about, I mean, strangely enough, religion?
They probably don't know.
Exactly.